The station plunged into darkness. Gravity fluctuated wildly. In some sections it vanished completely. In others it doubled, pinning people to the floor. Emergency alarms blared at deafening volumes. In the maintenance tunnel, water from the broken pipe floated in strange patterns as gravity shifted. Dorvik and his mercenaries struggled to stay oriented. Amber didn't. Humans had trained for zero gravity. Amber moved with practiced ease, grabbing Lyra and pushing off the wall toward a side passage. Jack and Greg followed, using the confusion to escape. After them, Dorvik shouted, but his mercenaries were disoriented, unused to changing gravity conditions. The human team moved quickly through the maintenance tunnels, Amber pulling Lyra along when the gravity returned suddenly and sent them crashing to the floor. "Where are we going?" Lyra gasped as they ran. "Council chamber," Amber replied. "We need to help Kate." They emerged into a main corridor. Station residents floated or crawled in confusion. Screen displays showed only static. Overhead lights flashed in random patterns. Greg checked his datapad. "Torel's security forces are moving." Our distraction worked. They reached the diplomatic sector. Outside the council chamber, a battle raged. Loyal security officers exchanged fire with mercenaries. Bodies floated in zero gravity, some injured, some worse. "We need to get inside," Amber said, studying the sealed doors. "There's a service entrance," Lyra said. "This way." She led them to a small maintenance hatch. Inside, they found more chaos. Council members floated near the ceiling, held at gunpoint by mercenaries who struggled to maintain position in the shifting gravity. Kate spotted them and gave a subtle nod. She was still with Torel, both appearing unharmed. "Where's Dorvik?" Jack whispered. As if in answer, the main doors burst open. Dorvik entered, rage distorting his features. He held a large disruptor rifle in his lower arms, while his upper arms helped him navigate the unstable gravity. "Enough games," he shouted. "Restore gravity and systems now, or I start executing council members." No one moved. "Fine. We'll start with the human supporter." He aimed his weapon at Torel. "Wait," Kate called out. "I'll tell my people to restore systems." Dorvik turned toward her. "Do it now." Kate looked directly at Amber, hidden in the service entrance. A look passed between them, some unspoken human communication. Amber understood. She handed her weapon to Jack. "Cover me." Before anyone could stop her, she pushed out of the hatch and launched herself across the chamber at incredible speed. The variable gravity made her trajectory unpredictable. Dorvik saw her coming and fired, but the beam missed as gravity shifted again. Amber slammed into him with full force. The disruptor rifle discharged, hitting the ceiling. They tumbled through the air, gravity shifting from nothing to double normal in seconds. Amber used each change to her advantage, positioning Dorvik to take the impact when gravity returned. The loyal security forces used the distraction to enter through the main doors, overwhelming the remaining mercenaries. When it was over, Dorvik lay unconscious, restrained by security officers. The council members were safe. The station's systems gradually returned to normal. Kate approached Amber, who was breathing hard but uninjured. "Nice move," Kate said with a smile. "A bit terrifying, though." "Sometimes terrifying is necessary," Amber replied. Council member Torel joined them, looking at the humans with new respect. "Your species continues to surprise us. You risked everything for someone you barely knew, then for an assembly that treated you with suspicion." Lyra stood beside them now, no longer afraid or alone. They did what no one else would do. They saw injustice and refused to look away. In the days that followed, the station changed. The marking system was suspended pending review. The Vrex Guild leaders were arrested across assembly space. Evidence of their weapons smuggling operation was found on 12 worlds. A week later, the council convened again. This time, Kate stood before them not as a supplicant, but as an honored ally. In recognition of their actions, Torel announced, Humanity's application for full assembly membership has been approved. Cheers erupted from the gathered representatives. Many who had once feared the humans now stood to applaud them. Lyra, now officially working as a cultural liaison for the human embassy, smiled as she watched. She thought about her darkest moment, alone in that corridor with no hope left. Nobody had helped her. Nobody had even looked. Until the terrifying humans stepped in. The embassy was dark except for emergency lighting. Amber led everyone to the secure inner room that the humans called the panic room. It had its own power supply and reinforced walls. Dorvik must have friends in high places, Greg said as they sealed the door. Cutting power to an embassy needs station authority. Lyra felt sick with guilt. This is because of me. You should just let me go. Not happening, Amber replied firmly. She handed weapons to Ryan and Jack. We don't abandon our own. But I'm not one of you, Lyra whispered. Amber looked at her with an expression Lyra couldn't quite read. You are now. Ryan worked at the communication console. I've bypassed the main system, trying to reach the ambassador. The screen flickered. Kate's face appeared, tense but alive. Ambassador, are you okay? Jack asked. For now, I'm with Council Member Terrell. The council chamber is under lockdown. Kate looked over her shoulder. Several council members have been taken hostage. The station security forces are divided. Some are helping the attackers. Dorvik? Amber asked. Yes. He's here with mercenaries. They're demanding Lyra in exchange for the hostages. Lyra stepped forward. I'll go. I can't let people die because of me. Kate shook her head. Absolutely not. Dorvik will kill you immediately, then probably kill the hostages anyway. He's desperate. What's the plan, Ambassador? Amber asked. Kate conferred with someone off-screen, then turned back. Terrell has loyal security forces gathering near the council chamber. But they need time. We need a distraction. Greg studied the station schematics on his datapad. There's a maintenance tunnel that runs near the embassy. It connects to all major systems, including life support. Amber asked. Greg nodded. And lighting, gravity controls, everything. If we could reach that tunnel, Jack said, we could create quite a distraction. Kate nodded. Do it, but be careful. According to Terrell, Dorvik has a shipment of those disruptor weapons with him. They're extremely dangerous. The screen went blank as the connection failed. Amber turned to the group. Ryan, you and Olivia stay here with Lyra. Keep this room secure. Greg, Jack, you're with me. We'll find that maintenance tunnel. Lyra stepped forward. I'm coming with you. Too dangerous, Amber said. I know this station better than any of you. Lyra insisted, and I know the maintenance systems. My people designed many of them. Amber hesitated, then nodded. Stay close to me. Using emergency protocols, they opened a service hatch in the floor. One by one, they climbed down into a narrow passage used by maintenance drones. This way, Lyra whispered, leading them through the dimly lit passage. They moved silently, pausing whenever they heard noises above. Twice they had to hide as armed mercenaries passed through intersecting corridors. They have the whole station looking for us, Jack whispered. After 20 minutes of careful movement, they'd reached a larger junction with control panels lining the walls. This is it, Lyra said. Station environmental controls. Gray examined the panels. I can work with this. If we reroute power and trigger emergency protocols. Will it hurt anyone? Lyra asked. No, Greg assured her. Just create chaos. While Greg worked, Amber kept watch. Suddenly, she raised her hand for silence. Someone's coming. Heavy footsteps approached from a connecting tunnel. Amber raised her weapon. 4 mercenaries appeared, weapons drawn. Behind them was Dorvik himself. The humans and the marked one, he said with a cruel smile. How convenient. I thought you were in the council chamber, Amber said, weapon steady. I left my associates to handle the hostages. I wanted to find you personally. Dorvik's eyes fixed on Lyra. You've caused me quite a lot of trouble. Step back, Amber warned. Dorvik laughed. Do you really think you can win? I have mercenaries throughout the station. The council is divided. Soon, I'll control everything. Why? Lyra asked. Why smuggle weapons? Why frame me? Revolution is coming, Dorvik said simply. The assembly is weak. Those who prepare will rule. He raised his hand, revealing the disruptor pistol. Now, drop your weapons. Amber didn't move. I'll shoot first. Perhaps, Dorvik admitted. But my men will kill your friends. Greg, still at the control panel, caught Amber's eye and nodded slightly. Amber smiled. You know what, Dorvik? You were right about one thing. Humans are terrifying. She fired her weapon at the ceiling. The shot hit a water pipe, which burst in a shower of liquid. At the same moment, Gray activated the controls. Throughout the station, chaos erupted. Word spread quickly through the station. Humans had challenged the Vrex Guild and won. The marking system, never questioned before, was now being discussed in every corner of the station. 2 days after the council meeting, Lyra sat in the human embassy lounge. The mark on her neck was gone, removed by a medical procedure that morning. She kept touching the smooth skin, still not quite believing it was over. Olivia sat beside her, checking the healing with a small scanner. Any pain? None, Lyra said. I still can't believe the council removed it. They had little choice after finding those weapons, Amber said from across the room. She was cleaning her sidearm, a habit that had initially frightened Lyra, but now seemed strangely comforting. Kate entered the room, looking tired but pleased. Good news. The investigation into the Vrex Guild is expanding. 3 more illegal shipments have been found. Greg followed her, datapad in hand. Bad news. Dorvik escaped during transfer to the detention center. Amber frowned. How convenient. Any idea where he went? His personal ship left the station 6 hours ago. Greg said, destination unknown. Kate sighed. He won't get far. The council has frozen all Vrex Guild assets and issued alerts to every assembly world. Jack rushed into the room, excitement on his face. You all need to see this. He activated the large screen on the wall. A news broadcast showed crowds gathering outside the assembly hall. Aliens of different species held signs with messages like, Fair Tiraels no, and Nd the King. It's happening all over the station, Jack said. People are demanding changes to the justice system. Lyra stared at the screen in amazement. Because of me. Because humans showed them a different way, Ryan said. Sometimes outsiders see problems that everyone else has gotten used to. A chime at the door interrupted them. A station security officer entered, looking uncomfortable. Ambassador Miller, the council requests your presence. Immediately. Kate and her team exchanged glances. Just you, Ambassador, the officer added. No staff. I don't like this, Amber muttered. Kate straightened her uniform. It's fine. I'll go. The rest of you stay alert. She looked at Lyra. Especially you. We still don't know who Dorvik's allies are. After Kate left, an uneasy silence fell over the embassy. Amber positioned security staff at all entrances. Greg and Jack monitored station communications. Ryan checked the embassy's security systems twice. Lyra felt the tension in the air. These humans had risked everything for her. A stranger. Their application to join the assembly was probably ruined. Their first diplomatic mission had turned into a scandal. Why did you help me? She asked suddenly. You didn't know me. You had nothing to gain. Amber looked up from her weapon. We had everything to gain. What do you mean? If we want to join the assembly, we need to show who we are, Amber explained. What we stand for. If we had handed you over just to make things easier, what would that say about humans? Olivia nodded. On Earth, there's an old saying, The only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. Lyra thought about this. No one else helped me. Everyone looked away. That's why they found us so terrifying, Greg said with a smile. Not because we're physically strong or come from a high-gravity world, but because we refuse to look away. A sudden alarm blared through the station. Red emergency lights pulsed along the walls. What's happening? Lyra asked, panic rising. Ryan checked the systems. Station-wide security alert. Multiple breaches in lower levels. The embassy doors sealed automatically. Jack tried to contact Kate but received no response. Something's jamming communications, he said. Amber moved to the weapons locker and began distributing sidearms to her team. This is no coincidence. Not with Dorvik on the loose. The lights throughout the embassy flickered, then went out. Emergency lighting cast eerie blue shadows across the room. They've cut our power, Ryan said grimly. A message appeared on all screens in jagged text. Surrender the HFY, or all humans will die. Amber checked her weapon and looked at the others. Her expression was calm, focused. Well, she said, looks like we're about to get terrifying again. The weapons have Vrex Guild markings, Jack pointed out, and the container's tracking code matches the one from Lyra's scan records. The council members conferred quietly. Torel finally spoke. This evidence suggests Lyra was indeed marked unjustly. She was silenced for discovering illegal weapon smuggling. He turned to Dorvik. Trademaster, you will remain for questioning. Dorvik backed away. This is an outrage. The guild will not stand for. The guild will comply, Torel said firmly. Security detained Trademaster Dorvik and his associates. As security officers surrounded the Vrex, Torel turned to Lyra. Your mark will be removed immediately. The council apologizes for this injustice. Lyra could hardly believe what she was hearing. She looked at the humans standing beside her, these strange aliens who had fought for her when no one else would. Thank you, she whispered. Kate smiled. We couldn't have done it without you, Lyra. Your courage started all of this. Amber nudged Greg. Look around. Throughout the chamber, representatives were watching the humans with new expressions, not fear or disdain, but something close to respect. The terrifying humans had just changed everything. The Assembly Council chamber was a massive circular room. 7 tall chairs rose on a platform at the center. Around them, hundreds of seats formed rings for representatives of all member species. Lyra had never been inside before. Few non-diplomats ever saw this room. Kate, Amber, and Greg stood with Lyra at one speaking platform. Dorvik and 2 Vrex Guild members stood at another. The security officers lined the walls, watching everyone. The 7 council members entered. Each belonged to a different founding species of the assembly. They wore identical silver robes that rippled like liquid metal. Council member Torel, a tall blue-skinned being with 4 arms, spoke first. This emergency session will address the dispute between the human embassy and the Vrex Guild regarding the marked Thylanthe female called Lyra. Dorvik stepped forward. Honored Council, this is a simple matter. The female stole valuable medical supplies. She was marked according to our laws. The humans have violated those laws by harboring her. Torel turned to Kate. Ambassador Miller, why have you interfered in our justice system? Kate stood tall. Honored Council, we believe Lyra has been falsely accused. On Earth, we consider someone innocent until proven guilty. No evidence was presented against her. No trial was held. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Many species seemed confused or offended by this concept. Evidence is not required when the accuser is of sufficient rank, one council member said dismissively. Trademaster Dorvik's word is enough. With respect, Kate replied, no single person's word should be enough to condemn another without investigation. Dorvik sneered. Primitive concepts from a primitive world. The humans are too new to understand our ways. Greg stepped forward. If I may, Honored Counsel, we've been investigating Lyra's claims. You have no authority to investigate, Dorvik snapped. Terrell raised a hand for silence. Let the human speak. Greg activated a data tablet. Lyra worked in cargo processing. 7 days ago, she scanned a shipment labeled as medical supplies from the Frex Guild. Her scanner detected energy signatures inconsistent with medical equipment. He displayed the scanner records. These readings match known weapons signatures, specifically disruptor rifles banned by assembly law. Dorvik laughed. A coincidental error in the scanning equipment. Nothing more. Perhaps, Greg said. But why was Lyra marked so quickly after reporting this? Why was there no investigation? And most importantly, he looked directly at Dorvik. Why has the shipment in question disappeared from all station records? Silence fell across the chamber. These are serious allegations, Farrell said. But without the shipment itself, we cannot verify them. Exactly, Dorvik said triumphantly. The humans make baseless accusations to defend a criminal. As if on cue, the chamber doors opened. Jack Warren entered, followed by a small, hunched alien with gray skin and a station maintenance uniform. The alien pushed a hovering cart with a large container. Forgive the interruption, Jack said, but maintenance worker Kren has something the council should see. The small alien looked terrified but determined. I found this hidden in waste processing level 3. It's from the shipment in question. Council security officers opened the container. Inside were sleek black rifles, unlike any design Lyra had seen before. Disruptor weapons, one council member gasped. Banned throughout assembly space. Dorvik's face darkened with rage. This proves nothing. That maintenance worker could have placed them there. Kren shrank back, but Jack put a reassuring hand on his shoulder. 5 hours after Dorvik's visit, the human embassy was in full defensive mode. Ryan had sealed all entrances except the main door. Jack maintained constant communication with Earth's orbital ship. Olivia prepared medical supplies for potential injuries. Amber stood at the main entrance with 3 security officers. They wore strange dark vests over their uniforms that Lyra learned were called body armor. Each held a weapon, though Kate had insisted they use non-lethal options only. They'll be here soon, Greg said, checking the time display. Dorvik doesn't strike me as the patient type. Kate nodded grimly. She had spent the last hours sending messages to every assembly member who might listen. Few had responded. The humans were too new, too unknown. And no one wanted to oppose the Vrex Guild for a marked alien. I should just go with them, Lyra said quietly. Your people shouldn't suffer because of me. Not happening, Amber replied without looking away from the door. Besides, if what you saw was truly weapons smuggling, this is bigger than just you. The station's communication system crackled to life. A flat, artificial voice announced, "Attention. The human embassy has violated station regulations by harboring a marked criminal. They have been given proper notice and failed to comply. Security forces are authorized to enter and retrieve the marked one." "Here we go," Jack said, watching the external cameras. 12 security officers and, looks like 4 Vrex Guild members. Kate stepped forward. "Remember, defensive posture only. We're here to protect Lyra, not start a war." The main door slid open. 8 insectoid security officers entered first, followed by 4 smaller Vrex figures. Last came Dorvik, looking pleased with himself. "Ambassador Miller," he called out, "I see you've chosen the difficult path. How unfortunate." Kate stayed calm. "Trade Master Dorvik, we believe Lyra has been falsely accused. We request a proper investigation and trial." Dorvik laughed. "Your primitive concepts of trials have no place here. The mark has been placed. The judgment is final." He gestured to the security officers. "Take the marked one." The officers stepped forward. Amber and her team raised their weapons in warning. "This is a human embassy," Kate said firmly. "You have no authority here. Your diplomatic status was revoked when you harbored a criminal. Dorvik snapped. Take her, and arrest anyone who interferes. The security officers advanced. Amber fired her weapon. A crackling pulse of energy struck the lead officer, who dropped to the ground, twitching but alive. Chaos erupted. The security officers charged forward. The human team fired their non-lethal weapons repeatedly, dropping 3 more officers, but the others kept coming. 2 officers reached Amber. She dropped her weapon and moved with shocking speed. Lyra watched in amazement as the human security chief flipped one officer over her shoulder and struck the other with a precise blow to a joint in the exoskeleton. The Vrex Guild members hung back, letting the security officers fight for them. Smart, Lyra thought. The cowards. Greg worked frantically at a console, trying to contact any allies in the assembly. Jack had opened a direct line to the human ship in orbit, requesting emergency evacuation. Lyra stayed behind Kate, feeling useless and afraid. A security officer broke through and grabbed her arm. Kate surprised everyone by landing a solid punch to the officer's face, sending him stumbling backward. Fascinating, Dorvik said, watching the battle. The rumors about human physical capabilities appear to be true. But surely you realize you can't win. More security officers poured through the door. The human team was surrounded, fighting desperately but losing ground. Enough, Dorvik shouted. Surrender the marked one now, or we will use lethal force. A sudden klaxon alarm blared throughout the station. The lights dimmed, then brightened to emergency level. Attention all beings, the station's system announced. Emergency council session commencing in 5 minutes. All diplomatic staff must attend. Security forces are ordered to stand down immediately. The fighting stopped. Dorvik's face contorted with rage. Who called an emergency session? He demanded. Kate smiled. I believe that would be Council Member Torrell. It seems someone was willing to listen after all. The security officers backed away reluctantly. Dorvik pointed a finger at Kate. This changes nothing. The council will order you to surrender her. Maybe, Kate replied. But now at least we'll get a chance to present our case, in public, with everyone watching. For the first time, Lyra saw uncertainty flicker across Dorvik's face. Morning came to the station in the form of gradually brightening lights. Lyra sat on the edge of the medical bed, watching as the humans prepared for their day. They moved differently than any species she had ever seen. Quick, direct movements with a strange grace that reminded her of predators from her homeworld. Jack Warren, the communications specialist, had brought her a clean set of clothes. They were human clothes, too large for her thin frame, but better than the dirty rags she had worn for days. The ambassador wants to speak with you, Jack said with a kind smile. Do you feel up to it? Lyra nodded. After a night of rest and 3 proper meals, her strength was returning. She followed Jack through the embassy, marveling at how different it looked from other embassies on the station. Human items were solid, practical, with none of the floating decorations or light sculptures popular among other species. In a small conference room, Ambassador Kate sat with Greg and Amber. A holographic display showed the station layout between them. Good morning, Lyra, Kate said. Please, join us. Lyra sat carefully, still not fully trusting these strange aliens. Why are you helping me? No one helps the marked. Kate leaned forward. That's not how we do things where we come from. Tell us what happened. Lyra took a deep breath. I worked in cargo processing, checking shipments against manifests. She paused. 7 days ago, I noticed a shipment from the Vrex Guild with strange readings. The manifest said it was medical supplies, but my scanner showed energy signatures consistent with weapons. Greg nodded, and he reported this. I followed protocol, told my supervisor. Lyra's voice became bitter. 2 hours later, security came for me. Said I had stolen valuable items from the shipment. They didn't even search my quarters. Just took the word of Trade Master Dorvik, marked me, and left me to die. Amber cursed under her breath. Because you saw something you weren't supposed to see. The marking system is barbaric, Kate said. No evidence, no trial, just an accusation from someone powerful. A chime interrupted them. Ryan Lewis, the embassy technician, appeared on a screen. Ambassador, we have visitors. Trade Master Dorvik of the Vrex Guild, and 2 station security officers. Kate sighed. Send them to the main reception area. We'll be right there. She turned to Liara. Stay here with Greg. You'll be safe. Liara watched through the room's window as Kate and Amber walked to meet the visitors. In the reception area stood 3 figures. 2 were station security, tall insectoid creatures with armored exoskeletons. Between them stood a Vrex, short, with gray skin and 4 arms. His expensive clothes glittered with embedded light crystals. Dorvik. Even from this distance, Liara could feel his smug confidence. Ambassador Miller. Dorvik's translator device made his voice sound artificially pleasant. I understand you're harboring a marked criminal. This violates station law. Kate stood tall, almost a full head higher than the Vrex. We're holding a guest who claimed she was falsely accused. Where I come from, we investigate such claims. Dorvik's smile didn't reach his 6 eyes. How charmingly primitive. But your human customs don't apply here. The marked one was judged according to our laws. She must be turned over to us immediately. For what purpose? Amber asked, her hand resting near the strange device on her hip that Liara had learned was called a sidearm. For removal from the station, of course, Dorvik said smoothly. We are a merciful people. She will be transported to a processing facility. Kate crossed her arms. And if we refuse? The security officers stepped forward. One handed Kate a digital tablet. This is a formal complaint, Dorvik said, all pretense of pleasantness gone. By harboring a marked criminal, your embassy forfeits its diplomatic protections. You have 6 hours to comply, or your application to join the assembly will be permanently denied. After they left, Kate returned to the conference room, her face grim. What's going to happen to me? Liara asked, her voice small. Nothing, Kate said firmly. We're not handing you over. Greg looked up from his datapad. But the consequences are worth it, Kate finished. If we want to join a galactic community, we need to bring our values with us, not abandon them at the first sign of trouble. Liara stared at the humans with wonder. They'll come for me. The Vrex Guild has powerful friends. Amber smiled, a predator's smile that sent a shiver down Liara's spine. Let them come. Amber Rodriguez frowned at the alien lying unconscious in the human embassy's medical bay. The creature was thin, almost too thin, with purple scaled skin that had lost its shine. A small black mark stood out on her neck like a tattoo. Will she make it, Olivia? Amber asked. Olivia Bennett adjusted the medical scanner in her hands. She's dehydrated and starving, but stable. I've never treated this species before, but her biology seems similar enough to make educated guesses. Ambassador Kate Miller entered the room, her formal diplomatic uniform still crisp despite the late station hour. How's our guest? Still unconscious, Amber replied, but alive. Kate nodded and looked around the small medical bay. Just 3 days ago, this room had been empty boxes. The entire human embassy was still being set up. Humanity's first diplomatic mission to the Galactic Assembly was barely a week old. Pictel is having a fit outside, Kate said with a sigh. Says we violated about 15 station regulations by bringing her here. Pictel was their assigned guide, a nervous 6-limbed alien who seemed perpetually worried the humans would cause an interstellar incident. So far, he had been right to worry. Greg Peterson walked in, datapad in hand. I did some research. The mark on her neck is called a justice mark. It means she's been accused of a crime. Accused or convicted? Amber asked. Greg shrugged. From what I can tell, there's not much difference here. Once you're marked, you're basically guilty in everyone's eyes. Kate frowned. That doesn't sound like justice. It gets worse, Greg continued. The marked aren't allowed to use public services, buy food, or even ask for help. Most aliens are forbidden from interacting with them. So she was left to starve. Amber's voice tightened with anger. That appears to be the standard punishment, Greg said. They're supposed to leave the station or die. No one is allowed to help them. Kate's jaw set firmly. Well, we weren't told about that rule, were we? A small moan from the bed interrupted them. The alien's eyes fluttered open, large, oval-shaped eyes with silver irises. She looked around the room, confusion evident on her face. Then she saw the humans. Her eyes widened in terror. It's okay, Olivia said softly, stepping forward with a small cup of water. You're safe here. The alien pressed herself against the wall, her thin body trembling. Humans, she whispered. Yes, we're humans, Kate said, keeping her distance. I'm Ambassador Kate Miller. This is our medical officer Olivia, our security chief Amber, and our science officer Greg. The alien didn't respond, her eyes darting between them like a cornered animal. What's your name? Olivia asked gently. After a long pause, the alien spoke. Lyra. Nice to meet you, Lyra. Olivia offered the cup again. This is water. You need it. Hesitantly, Lyra took the cup, her webbed fingers brushing against Olivia's. She flinched at the contact, but drank greedily. Humans, she said again, softer this time. I've heard stories about your kind. Deathworlders. Predators. Amber crossed her arms. Not everything you hear is true. The door hissed open, and Pictel scurried in, his 4 walking limbs moving rapidly while his 2 manipulator arms gestured wildly. This is unacceptable. You cannot harbor a marked one. The Vrex Guild has already filed a complaint. His voice was high-pitched with stress. Lyra shrank back at the sight of him. The Vrex Guild. They're the ones who accused her, Kate asked. Yes, a very powerful merchant group. They marked her for theft 7 cycles ago. You must release her immediately. Kate looked at Lyra, who was shaking her head frantically. I didn't steal anything, Lyra whispered. I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. In their cargo hold. Pictel's eye stalks twitched nervously. Ambassador, please. The human standing is already precarious. The Assembly barely accepted your application for observer status. This could ruin everything. Kate Miller looked from the terrified alien to her team, then back to Pictel. Tell the Vrex Guild we'll discuss this matter tomorrow. For now, our guest needs rest. But tomorrow, Pictel. Kate's voice was firm. That will be all. The guide left, muttering about impossible humans and diplomatic disasters. Lyra stared at Kate with disbelief. You're helping me? Kate smiled. Looks that way. But why? You don't know me. Amber stepped forward. On Earth, we have a saying, innocent until proven guilty. Lyra's brow furrowed. I don't understand. You will, Greg said. Right now, you should rest. For the first time in 7 days, Lyra closed her eyes without fear. Lyra shivered in the cold corner of the maintenance corridor. 3 days without food. 5 days since anyone had spoken to her. 7 days since the marking. The blue glow from the ceiling panels cast harsh shadows across her pale purple skin. Her once vibrant scales had dulled, and the thin membrane between her fingers had begun to dry out. She needed water soon. The marking on her neck burned, not with real pain, but with the shame it carried. A simple black symbol, small enough to hide under a hand, but everyone on the station could see it. Their minds felt it before their eyes saw it. Lyra pulled herself up against the wall. The Galactic Assembly Station stretched for miles in every direction, home to thousands of species. Busy corridors filled with diplomats, merchants, and visitors from 100 worlds. Yet she had never felt more alone. Just a little further, she whispered to herself. The embassy sector wasn't far. Someone there might help. Someone might listen. She stumbled forward, keeping close to the wall. A group of Trellix merchants passed by, their spindly legs clicking against the metal floor. Their eye stalks swiveled toward her briefly before they hurried away, conversations stopping mid-sentence. They had seen the mark, the symbol that told everyone she was a thief, a liar, an outcast. Lyra continued forward. Her telepathic senses, once sharp enough to read emotions from across a room, had weakened from hunger. But she could still feel the ripple of disgust and fear that followed her. The embassy sector opened before her, a grand hallway with doorways leading to the official representatives of each member world. Flags and symbols hung above each entrance. Lyra approached the door with the symbol of her homeworld, a spiraling silver pattern that represented the connected minds of her people. 2 guards stood at the entrance. Their purple skin was darker than hers, their posture perfect. Fellow Xylanthe, her people. Please, Lyra said, her voice barely above a whisper. I need to speak with Ambassador Velix. The guard's eyes flicked to the mark on her neck. Their minds closed to her instantly, like doors slamming shut. The ambassador is not available to the mark, one said flatly. But I didn't do it, Lyra pleaded. The Vrex Guild framed me. I found their hidden cargo. I saw what they're bringing onto the station. Move along, the second guard said, or we will call station security. Lyra stepped back, tears welling in her eyes. Her own people, turning her away without even listening. She tried 3 more embassies that day. The Mardolian representative had at least allowed her to speak before dismissing her. The Haluvi diplomat had simply closed the door as soon as he saw the mark. The Jorthi clerk had threatened to call security before she could even explain. As the artificial day cycle of the station dimmed to night, Lyra found herself in a forgotten section of the lower levels. Her legs finally gave out, and she slid down against a cold wall. No one would help her. No one would even look at her long enough to hear the truth. The station's marking system was absolute. Once accused and marked, you were guilty in everyone's eyes. The powerful Vrex Guild had ensured her mark would stick. They couldn't risk her telling anyone about the strange containers she had seen, about the weapons being smuggled right through the heart of the Galactic Assembly. Lyra's empty stomach cramped painfully, her vision blurred. She thought of her family back home, who probably believed the official report, a disgraced daughter, a thief, a liar. As consciousness began to slip away, she heard footsteps approaching. Heavy footsteps, unlike any species she recognized. Different from the light steps of the Xylanthe or the clicking of the Trellix. Hey, are you okay? A strange voice called out. Lyra tried to focus her eyes, but the darkness was closing in. The last thing she saw was a face leaning over her, a face with rounded features, small ears, and no scales. A face unlike any she had seen on the station before. Then everything went black.